Test one, two, test. Pineapple. Pineapple. All right, how's it sound?
Perfect.
Perfect pineapple. All right. Ready when you are, sir.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that? If there is a shutdown, I think it would be a tremendously negative mark on the President of the United States. He's the one that has to get people together.
What was your reaction to?
All right, I have a beef to pick with time zones.
Time zones?
Yeah, we just had an issue where you texted me, you said I'll be ready at 10:30, and I was like, okay, so he's pushing it back from 9:30 to 10:30. And this happens all the time with me. Like I think we should do away with time zones completely.
Okay, that would not work at all.
Yeah, it would completely work.
No.
What? China just has to wake up at 5 p.m. or whatever.
Yeah, the sun, if you live in certain places, the sun would come up at midnight. That would not work.
Yeah, but you just adjust your schedule to the time zones. But everybody works off the same time zone.
It'd be a lot easier if we just said, like, if I would have just said 10:30 Central, then you would have immediately known. So that's a much easier change. If you said, "Hey, let's do it at 9:30 Mountain Time," and I said, "Hey, let's do it at 10," because in my
Well, why not just get rid of the whole damn thing and just everybody's on the same time all the time?
Here's the thing, Docs. You've had some dumb ideas. I've known you now legitimately for like 35 to 37 years, and this might be the worst of all your ideas.
No,
I'm just telling you.
No, this is a great idea.
Okay.
I'm sticking to it. I mean,
What?
you just every country just adjusts their schedule to let's just do it with what was the original time zone? It was like
Greenwich, Scotland,
Greenwich
or something.
time. Yeah. It's in England. We'll just adjust it to that. That way our day starts when the sun comes up at whatever time it is there, which would probably be like 3 p.m. And we work from 3 p.m. when the sun comes up to 2 a.m. when the sun goes down, or however that works.
I encourage you to try to implement this, but I want you to know that I do think this is possibly the worst idea you've ever had.
I need
Sorry.
more power.
And in my defense, last night you said, because we were talking about what we had to do tonight, we both had stuff to do, and you said, okay, you want to start at 9:30 my time, 10:30 your time, and I said yes. And then I texted you and said I'll be good to go for 10:30, meaning my time. But I should have said 10:30 Central. So I get what you're saying, but much easier if we just started using the time zone identifiers.
It would just be much easier all over across the board if we just got rid of it and we went with one time.
Well, I'm going to make a promise to you that from now on, when I text you a time, I'm going to give you like Central or Eastern or whatever it is.
Fair.
So anyhow, we got a couple things real quick. I had a short show for tonight, and then as always, things happen today. I don't know if you saw this. Trump had his 20-point peace plan that he gave to Hamas. There's a whole backstory, and I'll be really quick with this because I didn't pull a lot for it. But he came up with a 21-point plan, and he showed it to all the Arab nations that matter over there, and they all said, "Oh, we can live with this." And then Bibi showed up at the White House Wednesday or Thursday, I don't remember, and apparently he negotiated it, and they changed some stuff, and it went from a 21-point plan to a 20-point plan, and some of those points were vastly different. And then Trump goes on stage and says, "Oh, we've already got all the Middle East countries to agree to this." And apparently they didn't want to say it publicly, but they were all like off the record last night saying, "Hey, he changed the deal. Like, this is not what we agreed to." Hamas responded this afternoon, and Hamas said, "Okay, we will release the hostages, all of them. In exchange, Israel is supposed to release like a couple thousand Hamas fighters they have captive right now." But then they said it was kind of a two-part response. They said, yes, we agree to the basic premise of this, but like paragraph 2, like we have some issues with part of this. And part of it was basically that Israel's still going to control Gaza and Palestine, and they don't like that. Trump jumped at it, and Trump came out and said, "Hey, they've responded, and I like what they had to say. So let's get on with, he told Israel to stop bombing immediately so the hostages can be released." So Trump basically accepted Hamas's counter proposal. I don't know if Trump realizes he did that. Like he technically did, but in his mind he might not think he did.
Hold on, we got to stop saying the I word.
Yeah, okay.
I think we should refer to them as the dark force at this point. We find something better.
I'm trying not to be rude here, but okay, I'm gonna try to stick with that. So anyhow, the dark force apparently has been upset all afternoon. Like, there's a lot of people that think that they really don't want a peace deal. Like, they've sabotaged several promising peace deals. people would make the argument that Israel's the reason they never went through. Sorry, the Dark Force. Man, the algorithm's going to get us again. Anyhow,
Like and subscribe.
yeah, please help us. So that's happening right now. It looks like we do. I mean, Trump's calling. I'll say this. I think that what's going to happen here is the Palestinians are going to give up all the remaining hostages, and then they're going to continue to get leveled. But let's cross our fingers and hope that this is a peace deal. So,
Well, the Dark Force has been bombing all day.
yeah, well, they stopped when Trump said stop now. Apparently, they
they did?
stopped. But apparently, from reporting, they are furious at this, and they don't like the counterproposal. This is not what they agreed to when they came to the White House. They laid out their 20-point plan, and Hamas said, we'll take half of this, but we want to change the other half. They're basically saying, no, we should keep bombing while we negotiate. And Trump is saying, no, like we got the framework of a deal here. So if Trump can pull this off, I'll give him credit. If he can end, and if he makes the Dark Force country stick to the deal. Because like I said, I think as soon as those hostages are out, they're going to find something to point at and go, look, oh, there's a violation. Time to start bombing again. Like I think that's what's going to happen. Also,
if he can actually make this happen, do you think he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize?
No. Just based off all the other stuff we're going to talk about in a minute, like no, like no.
What if he makes this deal happen and he stops bombing Venezuela,
and he doesn't send troops into U.S. cities, and he continues to defend Ukraine's sovereignty? If he does all those things, then yes, I will personally write the Nobel Committee and nominate him myself.
Okay.
Anyhow, I can't even think here. Where Israel? So sorry, the Dark Force country. So that's where we're at. There is potentially peace. We do have some weird stuff happening in America now. Remember the speech we talked about the other night with our good friend Jesse, where he was basically telling the generals, "Get ready, because like we're about to go into all these American cities and clean them up, and this will be a training ground for the military."
Mm-hmm.
Do you know the name Nick Sortor?
No.
He is a guy on YouTube. He's a shit poster. I don't even know what to call him. He's not a journalist. Let me make that very clear. The White House is referring to him as a journalist. If he's a journalist, then we are also journalists, is all I'm going to say. Like
Okay.
But he's a right-wing guy that's on
We are
Twitter.
journalists, Andy.
According to, I'm going to say we are now. If they're going to call him a journalist, then yes.
Journalists.
I saw last night, I don't know a lot about him, okay? I know the name, and I know he's a right-wing guy. I saw last night video of him getting arrested in Portland, and I was like, oh, wow, like Nick Sortor went to Portland, and now he's getting handcuffed. Like, this is interesting. I had no clue what happened.
Wow.
I wake up today, and he is throwing a fit on Twitter. I kept seeing it, and he was basically saying, like, the whole city of Portland better get a lawyer because they have no clue what's about to be coming. And I'm like, all right, at that point, I want to see what happens. So I don't know what they actually arrested him for, but there were plenty of videos from last night where he showed up and, like, at one point, somebody started burning an American flag, and he went over and took the flag from kind of wrestled the flag away from the guy, and he threw it on the ground and started stomping on it to put out the flag, which is just as disrespectful, in my opinion, as, I mean, that's against flag code. Anyhow,
I think so.
he also, there were videos where he was getting right in people's faces, and at one point he pushed a girl. It's one of those where I saw him push a girl in a video, but I don't know what happened before that. Maybe she pushed him first. I don't know. But it seems like he showed up there to be an agitator. Like he showed up there to get in the leftist face and to try to get them to attack him or something. Is what I'm guessing he was trying to do. The police ended up arresting him basically for being an agitator, for going down there and starting crap.
Good.
I don't think they charged him with much. He was out this morning, so they probably just booked him and let him out, probably disturbing the peace or something like that.
Yeah.
Then today, Carolyn Levitt at the press conference. I'm going to go ahead and let Carolyn tell us what the White House is going to do about this.
The police arrested a journalist who was there trying to document the chaos, and everyone in this room should be extremely concerned about that. The Department of Justice spoke with that journalist this morning, and they will be launching a full investigation into his arrest. This incident is part of a troubling trend in Portland where left-wing mobs believe they get to decide who can visit and live in their city. It is not their city. It is the American people's city, and President Trump is going to restore that. I just spoke with the president about this, and he has directed his team here at the White House to begin reviewing aid that can potentially be cut in Portland. We will not fund states that allow anarchy. There will also be an additional surge of federal resources to Portland immediately, including enhanced CBP and ICE resources. Law and order will prevail, and President Trump will make sure of it. With that,
if God were real, he would have struck her down by now.
I do agree. She always like she has several layers on underneath that cross because I got to believe it would burn right through her skin. Anyhow, um, so the White House is very upset. They're calling Nick Soto a journalist, which, like I said, is a big stretch. But Trump's looking to see what different aid he can cut off for Portland because they had him arrested. I'm gonna say this. I'll bet the cops had body camera footage on, or I'll bet I saw a lot of different cell phone video of him out there last night stirring crap up. Let's see. If they truly arrested him for nothing, then that is a violation of his rights, whether he's a journalist or not.
Sure.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, just from the videos I saw, they arrested him because he showed up and he was trying to start shit. Like I don't know what the official charge was,
Well,
but
if
it
he
seemed
took a burning flag out of somebody's hand and like ripped it out of their hands and started stomping on it. I mean, that's kind of against the law, isn't it?
You know, you would think, but then Trump, right after Levitt spoke today, Trump tweeted to ICE, Border Patrol, law enforcement, and the U.S. military, because they're about to be involved. As per my August 25th, 2025 executive order, please be advised that from this point forward, anybody burning the American flag will be subject to 1 year in prison. You will be immediately arrested. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, the president cannot make a law through executive order or in any way. The president can't make a law. Do you remember the old Schoolhouse Rock video we used to watch as a kid? A law starts in the House and goes to the Senate and then it goes to the president. Like there's a system for how we make laws, especially laws that are punishable by any kind of prison sentence like that. There's a process, and that would be a federal law. I would have to go through the steps. So right there, like I am on the I've never wanted to burn a flag in my life, but I want to go find a cop right now and burn the flag in front of him so that he'll arrest me so I can take this to the Supreme Court. Like this is going to happen quickly. Like somebody's going to do this. Like let's get this in front of the Supreme Court and let's see if we're really living in a free country or not, because the First Amendment and this went to the Supreme Court in I think the 60s or 70s, and they upheld the fact that burning a flag is free speech. And anyhow, not in Trump's America is all I'm going to say.
Okay.
And I don't even know what order this happened in, but I saw Carolyn Levitt first, and then I saw Trump's tweet, and then I saw good old Kristy Noem, Benny Johnson. And I'm going to just vent for a second. Ever since this administration started, there'll be like ICE raids happening in a city, and like, oh shit, is that Dr. Phil? Dr. Phil has like a full like bulletproof vest and all the stuff on, and he's involved in raids, and like there's always some random MAGA person that's going along with it. Right now, that person is Benny Johnson. Benny Johnson was like embedded with ICE today as they did raids, I believe, in Chicago. He also was like interviewing Kristy Noem for his podcast all along the way. This is what Kristy Noem had to say after the whole Nick Soter incident, which Nick Soter is almost a nobody. So the fact that him getting arrested, it's like this is their Reichstag fire moment where they're using this as the reason to then up everything. So here's Kristy Noem talking to Benny Johnson today.
We've seen a lot of attacks in Portland, a lot of news right now with various independent journalists that have been beat, that have been hit in the face, that have been locked up and arrested. What's going on there? Can you give us any status update?
Well, you've got a presence in Portland that is Antifa affiliated. And so that is a situation where you have known professionals, targeted violence that want to tear down America and will apparently attack anyone, even journalists that are just trying to report the truth of what's happening on the streets. So we're not just going to be rolling out of Chicago here, but we're sending in the Department of War at the request that I made to Secretary Hegseth. They're going to be rolling in here within the next 24 hours. Wow. They'll be coming to Chicago too. I put a request in today for them to come to Chicago. And we're going to not only have our officers that are out there with HSI and ICE, but we're also going to have backup from our military because everybody deserves that. And so what we saw happen to that journalist last night will not happen again. We will not allow that to happen again, where those individuals are persecuted for trying to show what's happening on our streets and for what they're doing to our law enforcement officers.
Could you imagine if anybody from Biden administration would have said those exact words at any point, any time?
There's so many parts there. First of all, she said that these are professionals, meaning like professional Antifa, I guess.
Right.
I spent a lot of time because I wanted to find what Nick Soter got arrested for. So I was seeing all these videos of him interacting with them. They weren't they were the pink hair, blue hair, and like skinny little Antifa kids that probably live in their mom's basement. Like they were those kids. Like,
yeah,
these were not professional agitators by any means. There was one guy wearing like a big, like a frog costume, like one of those ones where there's a fan built into it and it's like
Okay.
blown like a Halloween costume. And
Nice.
they pepper sprayed him and it got all over his frog costume.
Oh, poor guy.
Anyhow, what she said there, she put in a request today for the Department of War to come
Yeah.
in to Portland and Chicago within the next 24 hours. So we're going to have active military, not the National Guard. We're going to have military on the streets in two American cities here in the next 24 hours, is what she said.
Yeah,
Um,
and Portland's just crazy enough to fight the military at this.
oh,
Like,
and she started that by saying, what was it that Portland? Oh, what I can't remember how she said it, but she basically was saying Portland is a terrorist government. Like the mayor, the leadership in Portland is Antifa. So I can't remember. I wish I could remember how she said it, but that's the way she said that specifically. Like that's like we're labeling the elected officials of Portland as enemy combatants. She didn't say that directly, but like that's the vibe she gave. So
so they actually they picked Washington as their testing ground
well,
on
but
this, right?
it was dumb. They really didn't because they actually have the authority to put the National Guard in Washington.
Um,
The government controls Washington, so like it's called a national city or something along those lines. So
yeah.
they actually like they can put the National Guard in D.C. and nobody can really challenge that. But like that case does that's not a good test case because other cities the national government doesn't control.
But they went to Portland because they knew that this was going to happen in Portland.
Actually, if you remember, the National Guard and like 500 Marines got sent to LA back at the beginning
Oh,
of the summer. So
oh yeah.
that was the first time, and a judge has ruled that that was unconstitutional. So
And now they're doing it in Portland?
now they're doing it in Portland, and Chicago. And I don't know if you saw, but like it was yesterday or the day before, it was in the middle of the night. The ICE and like I don't know if it was I don't know who it was. ICE and probably the FBI raided an apartment building overnight and used Black Hawk helicopters. Had ICE agents rappelling off of helicopters onto the roof, and they marched everybody in the building outside. Some of them were naked children, like 2 years old, not wearing clothes, and they separated them into different cargo vans and had all the black people get into certain vans and all the Mexican people get into other vans.
Holy
And
shit.
I think they raided at like 10 p.m. and then they finally like checked everybody and at 3 a.m. started letting people go back into the rooms. There was one, it was an old black lady, and she was like, I've never had a gun pointed in my face in my life until last night. And she said they put a gun in her face, handcuffed her, marched her downstairs, put her in the back of a van, wouldn't answer any of her questions. She's born in America. She's not at all anything close to an illegal alien. She said said the whole building is pretty much black and brown people. So they marched everybody out till they could figure it out.
I heard they had American children handcuffed to each other.
Yeah, they had the children were handcuffed together, being marched out of this complex into these like U-Haul vans. Like it
What
was
the?
ridiculous.
What is going on in our country?
Man, I don't think I can resist anymore agreeing with you. I just want to look at the definitions of whether this is authoritarian or fascism or both. I don't really know, but like yeah, we're gonna get to that in a second. Okay, so that's what it looks like over the next 2 days. Like by Monday, we're gonna see some stuff playing out in Chicago and Portland. Like I'm guessing, and who knows? Maybe the army will show up and everything will be fine, and nobody will. I think, like you said, I think Portland's dumb enough, and I'm gonna say dumb enough.
Well, remember, I think it was 2021. Portland had there was something over it was like a federal building. I think it was the
You're thinking this was the summer of 20. This was the summer of 2020, the George Floyd riots, and they burned down the federal building.
no. I'm talking about it was the oh, what is it called? There was like farmers took like went in with guns and took over a federal building.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. They were like the right wing farmers of like
Yeah.
Eastern Oregon. Yeah.
Yeah, because the property that they were leasing was the leases were being taken away and they were giving them to oil companies or something like that. And I think this was under Trump. And I don't remember exactly what year, but I think it was 2021, if not 2019. Um, but that was wild. And I feel like Portland just kind of has some wild people on both sides that this could get interesting.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember where it was, but Clive and Bundy. It was like this is back in like 2014, 2015, but there was a whole like it was like a little like mini Waco, like the Branch Davidians when we were young. It was like a mini
Hmm.
standoff like that, where like they were on national land, but it was theirs, and it was some kind of a land dispute. And I
Mm.
remember at the time it was either in like eastern Washington State or Port or Oregon or maybe in like Wyoming. But I remember at the time I learned that like, oh, up in that part of the country that we don't really think about, there are some people that like are very like I don't even want to say right wing. Like they believe in their guns and their land and like
Yeah.
they're those kind of people and like they don't want the
Yeah.
government to tell them what to do on their land. It's an
Yeah. Mountain
interesting
people. Mountain
yeah.
people.
I didn't I've said this before, but like I used to think there was like two or three different types of people in America. Like, there was like, oh, there's Southerners, kind of
Thousands.
rednecks, and and like you go to different regions of America, and there's just different people all over. Like we got the Cajuns. The time where I finally recognized this was when I drove to Florida to see my sister, and like you hear about the Florida Georgia line, like there was
Oh yeah.
a band, but we stopped at a gas station like right in that area, and it was the weirdest people they were like rednecks, but like there were also black rednecks. Like a lot of people, I saw a lot of dudes wearing overalls with no shoes or socks and no undershirt and just like over. And I was just like, what are we? This was at a gas station. Like they were all
Yeah.
walking around
That's a
barefoot.
dangerous area right there.
Yeah, it was like it was it was scarier for me than being in like the worst, like in Compton. To me, it was like I was like, lock the doors, we're not getting out. It was rough. Um,
Yeah, it's interesting how many different like versions of hillbilly there are in our country.
Exactly. Like there's like you can't just say
Yeah.
hillbilly. Like what are we talking like West Virginia? Like
Right.
it's a very special kind of hillbilly over there. Or like the Cajuns, the
Yeah.
Appalachian people. Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Or the Texans, the yeah.
yep.
But there's one thing they have in common.
What's
They
that?
all like to get drunk and high.
Yeah, it's
They like their
figures.
meth. They like
Yeah,
their meth.
they like to be under the influence. Anyhow, back to our lawless country here. So that's what's happening inside the country. Now, I don't know if you heard, but we blew up another boat in the Caribbean. I believe this is five now.
Yep.
Yeah, Pete Hegseth tweeted it out first, and then Trump did. Earlier this morning, on President Trump's orders, I directed a lethal kinetic strike on a narco trafficking vessel affiliated with designated terrorist organizations. They're being smart and getting all the legal stuff in here. Affiliated with designated terrorist organizations in the U.S. Southcom area of responsibility. Four male narco terrorists aboard the vessel were killed in the strike, and no U.S. forces were harmed in the operation. The strike was conducted in international waters just off the coast of Venezuela while the vessel was transporting substantial amounts of narcotics headed to America to poison our people. If it was in international waters, there's no legal justification to strike this boat. But anyhow, he says,
This is illegal no matter which way you put it.
and I'm going to tell you why we're saying it's not in a second. But he says, our intelligence, without a doubt, confirmed that this vessel was trafficking narcotics. The people on board were narco terrorists and that they were operating on a known narco trafficking transit route. These strikes will continue until the attacks on the American people are over. None of these boats, just so you know, got within 2,200 miles of America, and none of them are the size of boat that can hold enough gas to make that 2,200-mile journey. So the whole
They're
like they
just
were headed for
blowing up
America.
boats. They're just blowing up boats out in the middle of the ocean.
So Trump, and I wish I could remember what he called it. Hold on.
Well, Venezuela is like building up their army right now. Like they don't really have the funds to build it up, but they're just building up no matter what. Like they're
So
getting ready to go to war with us because
there
they
are
think we're going to attack them.
there are a lot of people that like are like connected, people that are reporters in the Pentagon and all that, that think we are like right now we're in discussions of whether or not we should do a like an actual like invasion, like send in arm like a land on the beaches of Venezuela like we did on Normandy and go
And
in and do.
you know why we're going to do that, right?
Well, I know that one of the reasons is Marco Rubio has had a hard on to do this for 10 years now. He's talked about this for a while and he's finally in position to do it. But
Yeah, but Trump imprisoned one of his favorite presidents, or
no,
Venezuela imprisoned one of their favorite presidents.
nope, that was Brazil. Yeah,
Oh, oh.
Bolsonaro got locked up in Brazil.
Well, what do we have beef with Venezuela for?
So they are allies with like Russia and Iran and
Uh,
probably China. I don't know for sure. I'm gonna say China. They also have the largest oil fields in all of South America, which that's just history of America. If you got a lot of oil, we're interested.
Yeah.
But and then they don't like Maduro at all. Like a couple months ago, they put like a $50 million bounty on
Yeah.
Maduro's head.
Okay.
It's
That's what
like
I was thinking.
he's the president of a country and we have a bounty on his head. Like that's kind of interesting. Like I don't know how you do that without declaring war on that country.
That's
Um,
crazy.
anyhow, pull this up real quick. Pull up the what did I call this? Armed conflict.
Breaking news. Trump declares that drug cartels operating in the Caribbean are unlawful combats and said the U.S. is now in a non-international armed conflict.
So Trump
Oh,
officially told Congress that we're classifying these as unlawful combatants, which that's what you classify someone that you're in war with. Like that's all the people that we took to Guantanamo from like Afghanistan and Iraq, we call them unlawful combatants. Like so if you're saying they're unlawful combatants, that means we are at war now. But then he tried to use, nobody really knows what this means, a non-international armed conflict. So we're in an armed conflict, but not with another nation, is what he's trying to say there, which nobody's ever tried this line of bullshit before. Like, I don't, normally this wouldn't fly, but Congress is controlled by Republicans, the House and the Senate, and they would have to like challenge him on this, which there will
right.
be like, there'll be some Rand Pauls and Thomas Masseys that, and maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene that'll be like, hey, why are we getting involved in it? You said no new wars, and we're getting involved in a war here. But overall, that's not going to be enough to do anything.
Yeah. So, I mean, Congress is the one who actually has to put the like give us permission to go to war.
The
And
pres
he's skirting this and using verbiage that isn't that kind of lets him get around the idea like we're not really in war or
So I don't even want to pretend to be an expert on this, but back after September 11th happened, the Patriot Act and all the different things that Congress was like, we need to do this for our security, but really it ended up they were using it to spy on Americans and this and that. Part of that is called the like ASMF arm. Here it's something like that, but it's basically it authorizes the president to protect the nation. He can strike back without having to tell Congress, but then within 48 hours, he has to like officially notify Congress of like what he did and why he did it and blah blah blah. And then at that point, Congress can either say yes, you can proceed, or no, you can't. But the president basically that kind of makes sense to me that like if we get attacked like Pearl Harbor happens, like the president should be able to launch a counterattack right now without going in front of Congress and waiting on a vote and this and that. But like I said, within 48 hours he has to notify them, and then anyhow, that's not going to happen here because Congress is just going to be like, yeah, cool, whatever you want to do, like knock
whatever,
yourself
Mr.
out.
President. And they're
Yeah,
shutting down again anyway, so like what does it matter?
yeah. So they, which Mike Johnson, I'm sorry, Mike Johnson today said that he basically now he's telling them to take another week off. You don't have to be back till the 13th. The deadline for that Epstein discharge petition is like the 15th, 16th, something like that.
Can they
So
extend it?
what's that?
Can they extend it?
I don't think so. I think that they have to get the signatures by a certain date, or else I think there's a period of time before they can redo the discharge petition or whatever it is.
This is so stupid.
So they're running out the clock on that.
So the
Yeah.
Republicans are blatantly, obviously trying to prevent the Epstein files from coming out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
don't
still
know.
haven't seen Amelia Earhart files.
Okay. We're gonna talk Epstein here after this, okay? Because I do there was a very comical Epstein development that happened in the last day or two, okay? But
Okay.
let's stick with this, okay? So
Yeah.
to back up real quick, Portland and Oregon, we're sending in the army. We're blowing up more boats in the Caribbean. We're talking about like a invasion of Venezuela, overthrowing their government. Like that's going to be like we'll win that war, but it'll be it'll be like Afghanistan. We'll be there for 20 years, and when we leave, it'll just fall apart again. Like it's which if they got the
Fall
oil,
apart. What is wrong with Venezuela right now?
oh, I'll bet Venezuela. I'm not even going to try to say Venezuela is like an awesome place right now. I know that the reason that we have a lot of Venezuelans in America is because they're escaping gang violence.
That's
So
true. Okay.
I'm not
All right.
even going to try to say that Venezuela is doing good. I'm going to say that it's not any of our problem. Like what
Okay.
has nothing to do with America. So
I'll take
and
that.
also he's really sticking on the drugs thing. 0% of our fentanyl that we get in America comes from Venezuela. We get none of it. We get a little bit of cocaine from them. About 6% of the cocaine in America comes from Venezuela. That's it. They're really not trafficking drugs to us on a scale like if this was about drug trafficking, there are a lot of other countries that like we should be focused on before Venezuela. So that's it.
Yeah.
Really comes down to we don't like Maduro. Marco Rubio specifically does not like Maduro and has wanted to do this ever since he became a senator. Like this has been a goal of his, and now he's in position to potentially do it.
Man.
Yeah, and they got oil. That's I mean, drill baby drill. Like I guarantee you,
Trifecta.
they went in there and showed Trump a map of all the different oil fields in Venezuela, and he was just like, "Ooh, yeah." So anyhow, before we go on, the main point I want to make with this, we're going to play one more clip, and then I want to have a little discussion with you here. Okay?
Okay.
I thought would be met with fury on the left, but they're sort of giving up. I must be honest with you. They've had it. They've had it with Trump. They've been after me for so many years now. Here we are. Here we are. Come to the White House anytime you'd like. No, they've given up. They're bad, a lot of bad people. But all over, that's been so popular. It's been very popular. I really thought that we were going to have to sort of fight it through. There's been no fight. There's been no fight.
What does he talk about?
Just in general, that everything he's saying it's all pretty easy this time. Like the left isn't really fighting me. Okay,
He's kind of right.
so he is. There's so much truth to that. Now, my main question for you tonight. I don't think we're going to have an answer for this, but we're not allowed to call him a fascist or a authoritarian or a Nazi because that gets people killed, and we all need to bring down the rhetoric. According to everybody right now, we can't. Let's all tone it down and not name call. Okay, so first of all, what if he really is doing some authoritarian stuff? Like, well, I can't say that that's like. I've told you, like, I'm changing my tune here because I've told you for the every time you say fascism, I say, we're throwing around words here, blah blah blah. But like, we're starting to get really close to either authoritarianism or fascism. I don't know which one, but like, we're not allowed to say that because we've all kind of said we need to bring down the rhetoric.
Well, we're already in authoritarianism, and we're just
Teetering on fascism.
Not even teetering. We're dipping our toe in the water.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe our whole leg in the water, both legs. We're up to our waist in fascism at this point.
Bill Maher said last week, we're not just flirting with fascism, we're effing it. And I think he was right.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're not allowed to call them names. He's trying to make it to where protesting him, if you go to a No Kings protest at this point, that you're protesting American values and capitalism and blah, blah, blah. So like part of the MSPF7, whatever the hell it was, so they're trying to make it illegal to protest him. So nonviolent protest seems like a thing that they're not going to be down with. And also a lot of these people that are like outside of the ICE facilities in Chicago and in Portland are nonviolent protesters. Now, there are a couple that are just being dumbasses. Like in every group, there's dumbasses. So there's a couple that are walking right up to cops and pounding on their chest and then getting pepper sprayed, and screw those people, take them to jail. I don't care about those people. But we're not allowed to nonviolent protest. We're not allowed to call what we're seeing the name that correctly fits it. The only tool that elected Democrats have right now is to stop this budget from going through, the shutdown that they're doing. That's the only time that their vote counts. Other than this, they can't do anything. Elected Dems in the House and the Senate have zero power to stop anything from happening. How do we fight back? Like, I'm dead serious. Like, la resistance. If you're unhappy with what, and it looks like it's about to get, and also the job numbers came in, not the official government ones, but the ADP job numbers. I don't know what that means, but it looks like we lost 32,000 jobs last month, and then August got revised down by like 30,000, so it's at like negative 3,000. So the last 4 months of job numbers apparently have been horrible. Just so you know.
And he's not allowing the job numbers to come out anymore.
Yeah, the BLS is shut down during the shutdown.
So earlier today, I was thinking about the fascist thing, and I was like, well, if he's really a fascist, and he didn't want the shutdown to happen, then he could just sign legislation to make it happen. I mean, if he was a fascist, he would say, "Oh, I'm just gonna open the government back up. I'm signing this thing. Nobody else matters. I'm the king. I can just sign this." But now it's very clear that if he wanted the government open, he would probably do that because he is a fascist.
They would do it a different way, just so you know. Real quick, what they would do, they could do the nuclear option in the Senate. There's been several things that they've decided, we don't need 60 votes for this. We need 50. And the Democrats did this first. The Democrats did it in the Obama years, where Republicans wouldn't let them get any judges confirmed or something, so they eliminated the filibuster, where they call that the nuclear option, for judges only. And it was like, okay, but it's just for judges. Well, then Republicans came in and said, okay, well, we're going to eliminate the filibuster for this one other thing. And then
Hmm.
each side keeps doing it. And there's very few things that still need 60 votes in the Senate. The budget is
Yeah.
one of them. So if they wanted to, they could go nuclear on it. But a lot of them are saying, hey, if we do this and then AOC wins in 2028, like we're going to be paying for a lot of trans stuff or whatever Republicans are afraid of paying for. So that's why they're hesitant to do the nuclear option when it comes to the budget, just so you know.
Okay.
So
Okay.
anyhow,
That
sorry,
makes sense.
continue. But if he was a fascist, he would do that, you're saying?
He would do that, but it became obvious to me that they really don't want the government to open back up.
A lot of people are making the point that like they want to shut they don't want to admit that they want to shut down, but like they're quite thrilled with this shutdown. And
Yeah.
like Mike Johnson and Trump have both said, like, negotiate. Like, why would there's nothing to negotiate? Like, we're not, they just need to sign it. And it's like, no, if you need 7 of their votes, you have to give them something. That's how this always works. They
Yeah.
have no interest in negotiating at all. And it's in their mind, it's like either the Dems cave and they look dumb and the government reopens, or the government stays shut down, which is kind of a win. And especially with the Epstein discharge petition, like,
Hmm.
really no reason to have the government open right now.
Well,
So,
that and they're going to fire a bunch of government employees,
mm,
and they're going to shut down healthcare for a lot of people. So the I've Had It podcast was talking about how Stephen Miller is on record saying that he wants to bring the population from 350 million down to 100 million people.
so eugenics.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
eugenics for sure. And I think Elon Musk is kind of on board with that, but he,
No. Elon is afraid of population collapse. Like he wants us to all be having 15 kids. So there's different factions in MAGA, but in Trump's administration. Like I firmly believe Stephen Miller might want to reduce the population and make it all white people. Like I'm sure he would love that. But like the Elon wing of it is never going to let that happen because if you're a business person, like population collapse is the scariest thing ever. Not because you're worried about the future of humanity. You need to be able to show a growing profit every quarter to your shareholders. And like
yeah.
if there's a population collapse, that equals an economic collapse. Like there's no way to have one without the other. And like they are afraid of an economic collapse. Like every time you hear Elon say population collapse, in your head, replace that with economic collapse, and it'll all make sense to you. Yeah.
Interesting.
If we had a
Okay.
population collapse, the economy would be in hell. So,
Okay.
anyhow,
Huh.
so back to how do we how do we how do we show our disdain or our dislike for what's happening in America? How do we say look if you look around and you say, "Hey, I don't like oh, this is we're heading authoritarian police state here. Like I'd like to make my voice heard." If you protest, you could be an enemy combatant, basically. You could be a domestic terrorist based off the DSM-7 stuff. If
Sure.
you call him a fascist, or if you say, hey, this looks pretty authoritarian, people are going to say that you're basically inciting violence. Like the people are getting hurt because of these words that are being thrown around, which I've been one of those people saying that. But I'm now at a point where it's like, if it really happens, if we really go authoritarian, and I can't say that because that'll get somebody hurt, apparently, and I can't protest.
Um, I don't know. I think you have to protest. I think we all have to protest, and I don't know. Is he gonna? I think you'd mentioned that maybe he is trying to arrest protesters to get them
That's one of my theories is that
off the
like
ballots.
all this, yeah, and I think that you have to commit a felony, and maybe he can arrest him for felonies, but like there's a part of me that wonders like is all this stuff to like remove Democratic voters from the voting rolls? Like if you find a
Kind of.
way to arrest all of them, they can't vote, and if it's a felony, if it's a misdemeanor, apparently they can vote. But that makes me wonder.
Well, yeah, and I'm curious as to where, like, what's going to happen in 2026 on, the day of voting. What do we call it? Yeah, the day of voting.
Election day is what we call
Election day
it.
in 2026. Like, what's going to happen with all these with troops in the streets? Like, is he going to send them to the polls?
To guard the polls, to make sure that the election is secure. And by
Yeah,
doing that, what the left is afraid of is by doing that, people that maybe have warrants or whatever, like aren't going to show up to vote because they don't want to go near the armies over there. Like, I'm not going over there. They're arresting people
Right.
for all kinds of stuff. So you
Especially if the
scare,
army starts arresting people, which they're not allowed to do.
you would think.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
This
It's
this
scary.
election is going to be really weird. Like, I I'm starting
Can we say fascist?
so close, dude. I'm right. I'm so close to agreeing with you. Like that's a moment like where if we have issues at the election where there's intimidation used by the state, like then yes, well, I'll happily agree with you that we are in a fascist hellhole. Like I said, I so like in when I'm like I'm basing everything around how this weekend goes. Like if Chicago and Portland, like nothing really pops off and everything's good and there's no clashes, then I'm gonna calm down a little bit. But right now, like I don't see any way that happens. Like I think that the idiots in Portland will do something. Anyhow, I do have a funny real quick from Stephen Colbert. The shutdown's going on. If you remember, Trump's doing these AI videos where he's putting a sombrero and a mustache on Hakeem Jeffries.
Yeah.
I still don't get how that's racist. If people think it's racist, that's fine. I'm not sure. It's just immature. Like, are we trying to negotiate the end of a shutdown, or are you trying to just be a dick? And it seems like he's trying to be a dick.
Yeah,
But
it really does.
Colbert had a little response from that. So check this out right here.
Now, the White House has got a lot of blowback for such infantile bigotry, but at least J.D. Vance did the right thing and doubled down.
Is it helpful to post pictures of Leader Jeffries in a sombrero if you're trying to have good faith talks with him?
Oh, I think it's funny. The president's joking, and we're having a good time. I'll tell Hakeem Jeffries right now, I make this solemn promise to you that if you help us reopen the government, the sombrero memes will stop.
Okay, I didn't know that. If that's how we're doing it, J.D., then we here at The Late Show also enjoy humor. We've created our own funny, good time animation based on something that isn't real to help end the shutdown. Enjoy. We're joking. We're joking. Having a good time. Come on. It's a joke. We're having a good time. It's funny. And I'll tell you what, here's the deal. If you resign as VP, I won't keep showing that every chance I get. And I definitely won't put it on all of our socials so people can share it and maybe roll it on a loop during their holiday parties this year.
I'm going to miss him when he's gone. I think we have 5 or 6 months left of Colbert, so yeah.
Dude, he's the GOAT. I actually really hope he gets his own. I hope he gets a channel where he can cuss again, or he can because I feel like he's held back a little bit being the late night show guy.
It would be dope if he did another version of the Colbert Report where he played like the right wing figure. Or imagine if somehow whether it's on Comedy Central or Netflix or on somewhere, but if we had Jon Stewart having a show like The Daily Show that led right into Colbert, like old days. Like,
Or what if they hosted the show together?
That would be great too. What if, hear me out on this, what if they ran for president together? Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert on a ticket. Oh, give me that all day long.
I'd vote. Yeah, I'd take that vote.
Take them in a heartbeat. Yeah, let's try it.
Okay.
It can't get any worse. Let's give that a shot.
Right.
Jon Stewart seems political. Like he every couple of years he's on the steps of the Capitol in Washington fighting for, I think it's like the first responders from 9/11 to make sure that they have health care for the different. There were all kinds of jet fuel fumes and whatnot that they breathed in and apparently are causing health issues.
Yep.
So yeah, I'd love to see him.
Well, he won that argument, and I think it was under Trump's first regime, and he won that in the House and the Senate, and they voted for it. And what he did, because the Republicans didn't want to vote for that bill, and he held their feet to the fire and was like, "You keep saying that you want to support first responders." And so this is your opportunity to support first responders. And he was I think he was at the Capitol like every day for like months trying to get this bill passed.
You could easily say without him, there's no way that would have passed.
Right.
Like,
but
he
I
got that
think
passed.
Trump disavowed that this term.
Probably so. I could see that. But
I think I heard that.
Real quick, can you imagine a debate between either Jon Stewart and Trump or Jon Stewart and JD Vance, one or the other.
Oh,
Give me that,
all day.
and then Colbert against probably Rubio. I'm gonna guess. Like,
That's fine.
I'd love to see that. Give me
Yeah.
that all day long.
Oh yeah. No, these politicians, like the vast majority of our politicians right now, could not debate Colbert,
No.
Jon Stewart, John Oliver, um, Kyle Kalinske, Krystal Ball, David Pakman. Like you name any of these leaning people who actually know how to hold an argument and who have the facts on their side and in their memories. Like they can't debate them.
Dude.
None of them can debate them.
Go on YouTube and search for Jon Stewart and Bill O'Reilly.
Oh,
they
yeah.
did like 3-4 real debates where like they were on stage in front of an auditorium and it was just like a presidential debate and like Jon Stewart crushed Bill O'Reilly left and right. It was fantastic.
Destroyed him.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And
And Bill O'Reilly at the time was like the top Republican voice.
he was the top voice of Fox News for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll give O'Reilly credit because he kept going back and doing them. Like they did each other's show frequently. So
Yeah.
Anyhow, I do have another authoritarian type thing to show you here. Check this out real quick.
Attention all patriots. America is back and so is the $1 coin. POTUS at Real Dollar Trump will forever be the face of America's 250th birthday. Thanks to at Secretary Scott Bessent and at Treasurer Beach. These first drafts show that our nation is ready to fight. Is that legal?
So at first I thought this was a joke because I saw it and it's from a guy that I'd never heard of before named Steve Guest. I don't know who that is. So I saw it and I didn't pay any attention to it. But then the guy that he mentions in the tweet, Treasurer Beach, that guy came out and tweeted and said, yep, no, this is actually 100% right. Like we're doing this. First of all, there's never been a sitting president or a living ex-president added to money. Like it's one of those things where you wait till they die to do. It's actually illegal. Law specifically prohibits you from having a sitting president on any monetary coins or dollar bills, and it's basically to avoid an authoritarian vibe. Like that's the reason we don't do that. Because if somebody could win the presidency and start shifting all the currency into their name and face, like that's pretty damn authoritarian. So the problem is that I think that the only people that could really stop him on this would be the House or the Senate, which are not going to stop him on this. So he's gonna have a year and a half till maybe the Democrats win the House, and they're gonna make as many of these as they can and get them out in the public, and then the Democrats will stop it. But then there'll be a collector's item running around, an official $50 with Trump's face and name and all that. Like, if you can get your hands on one of those, never get rid of it because years from now, some MAGA person will pay you an absurd amount of money for that. Like,
yeah, okay. I'll collect them when they come out.
I'm gonna invest in that stuff. I'm gonna sell stocks to buy the Trump $1 coin and sit on it. Be more valuable
sell
than
them for
anything
like
else.
$500 a piece to.
You look at what some of this Trump merchandise goes for, and I'm just like, wow, like there's a market here. Like these people are willing to spend money to show their love for Trump. Yeah.
Interesting. So we should open up a Trump merch.
I think so. Yeah. I think if we were smart, if we were smart and we wanted to just like try to make money podcasting, we should flip and be a pro-Trump podcast that sells Trump merchandise. Like we'd be way more successful.
Yay, fascism.
Yay. I love fascism. Anyhow, moving on. Howard Nutlick was on a podcast and this made headlines. First of all, Howard, I'm going to say his name correctly here. Howard Lutnick. He used to be neighbors with Jeffrey Epstein for I think a while, like 10 or 15 years. They lived right beside each other. He goes on this podcast and starts running his mouth about Jeffrey Epstein. Check this out real quick.
I mean, that's an incredible story that you could pick up that he was a pervert.
It's gross. The guy's gross. Right with my wife. He's gross. The guy's gross. This was not, the deep nuance of Howard Lutnick. This guy's gross.
Right. So how come Bill Gates and all these other people could hang around him and not see what you saw? Or did they see it and ignore it? Or
no, they participated.
Right.
That's what his MO was, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever. blackmailed people. That's how he had money. So
what happened to those videos? Why is there now such a dearth of information when, Donald Trump's people are running the FBI and the DOJ?
I assume way back when they traded those videos in exchange for him getting that 18-month sentence, which allowed him to have visits and be out of jail. I mean, he's a serial sex offender. How could he get 18 months and be able to go to his office during the day and have visitors and stuff? It must have been a trade. So my assumption, I have no knowledge, but my assumption is there was a trade for the videos because there were people on those videos.
And have you talked to Donald Trump about this and shared your theory?
No, I mean, he knows the story.
Right.
But my story, that, I was one and done with the guy. He knows that story, but that's it.
So I just posted that to our X channel.
Good call. So
I think we should spread this message throughout because this is part of the problem.
This administration has been trying to get rid of the Epstein story forever, and it's finally working. Charlie Kirk, the government shutdown. Like, we're not all talking about Epstein. Like, it's going away. Nobody talk about it. And if we do talk about it, everybody get on the same page. There were no other clients. There were no other people that should be charged. There are no tapes. There's nothing. Case closed. It's over. Like, that's what the administration's official story is. Howard Lutnick goes on this podcast and says, "Oh, as soon as I met him, I knew he was a creep. That's why I stopped hanging out with him." And then, well, why were all these powerful people go? Because they were getting those massages, and there's probably videotapes of it. Oh, and I think that when he got his plea deal, he gave the videotapes to the federal government in exchange for his sweetheart plea deal. Like, he blew they got to be so pissed at him.
50% of his administration is associated with Epstein.
Ghislaine Maxwell said that in her jailhouse interview with Todd Blanche. At one point, she said there are many people in Trump's current administration who were in that circle back then. And when she said it, Blanche, she said that to him, and instead of following up on that, he was just like, "Okay, next question," and took it in a different direction. And it's like, whoa, any prosecutor there would have been like, "Oh, really? Can you tell me who they were?" He blew. As soon as she said that, he was like, "Get out of this. How can we move on?"
Yeah. Not only Trump, but there's Elon Musk, and isn't Peter Thiel, and Peter Thiel is associated with
so Elon Musk
James
says
Vance.
Elon Musk says he did not go to the island. On the calendar, it said Elon Musk to the island and question mark, and then in parentheses it said is this happening question mark, and he came out a day or two later and said that he actually didn't go to the island. So
where did this calendar come from?
Epstein's estate turned it in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
But yeah,
you think I could only imagine that if Elon Musk was actually on that calendar, they would have moved some stuff around before they turned it in.
I don't know.
I mean, how much money does that cost? Couple million?
I mean, if they were caught tampering with evidence that they were turning in under subpoena, that'd be jail time for somebody. So
$1 billion? I mean, he's got how many billion?
Yeah.
500 billion now?
I don't know. He's got 500 billion. He just became the richest person in the world again. So anyhow, apparently the reporting is that the entire White House is pissed at Howard Lutnick. They want him gone today. They've been working so hard to get rid of this Epstein story, and then he at the end of that, she was like, "Have you told President Trump about this?" And you could see in real time, you could see his face going from "I'm having fun" to "Oh shit!" And then he kind of got serious, and he was like, "Well, it's just one story for me. It's no big deal." And I was like, "No, you just blew a hole in everything they've been saying."
Yeah.
Anyhow, so
is Lutnick the one that is chirping in Trump's ear about the tariffs?
He loves the tariffs. Apparently, it's kind of Lutnick and Navarro versus Bessent as far as who can get Trump's ear and get him to do what they want.
So getting rid of Nutlick is a good thing.
Yeah, that'd be great. Except, yes, but it's one of those where it's who's going to replace him? Yeah. It's not going to be anybody better. So
Sean Hannity.
Oh, God. And also, the guy that he put in charge of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the guy's name was E.J. Antoni. He was a character. Even the Republicans did not like him, and they knew that he would just give Trump whatever numbers he wanted. And Wall Street does not want that. Trump ended up pulling his nomination 2 days ago. So he's on the search again for a new BLS commissioner. So,
okay.
Anyhow, so that I just think that's hysterical. And I wonder, did Letnick right after that, did he go and call Trump and be like, "Hey, boss, like you should hear this from me. Like this is going to come out tomorrow. Here's what I said." Or did he just try to hope that Trump never sees it?
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if any news gets by him because he's got so many people in all
Yeah.
corners of this crazy administration, crazy regime.
Yeah.
Like,
So
yeah, it's gonna come out. So maybe he probably called him and said, "Hey, man, I fucked up."
we can hope. I don't think he has the balls to do that. I
All
only
right.
have one more topic left. What do you got for me tonight?
Um, so have you heard about the Trump phone?
No, Trump
You have a
phone.
Trump phone. Apparently, all of our phones are Trump phones at
Hold
this
on.
point.
He was trying to sell like the Trump phone. This was a couple months ago, and then it turned out that the phone that they were selling, they basically took another phone, they were going to slap Trump on it, and that phone was made in China. So that like it kind of fell apart. But anyhow, what's going on now?
No, this is all phones are now Trump phones. And he is surveilling your social media, all of our social medias. And not only that, but he is through ICE, he's hiring 30 contractors to sift through your posts, photos, and messages, raw materials to be transformed into intelligence for deportation raids and arrests. This is through Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and other apps. So they're basically hacking into your apps and they're stealing all of your data so that they can arrest you for being illegal or talking shit about Trump.
Wrong think is the term. And yeah,
Wrong thing.
yeah,
Oh, it's wrong thing now.
wrong
Is
think.
that what I'm
Yep.
doing? Is wrong thinking?
That's what
Oh,
people that would be alarmist and say, "Oh, Trump's a fascist." They would say that he's about to try to start arresting people for wrong think, which like you could look at some things happening and be like, "Oh, like the whole NSPM7 thing, like if you're against the traditional American family or against Christianity or against capitalism or whatever, like though you haven't done anything, you just are against that. That's wrong think." And like, could you be arrested for that?
we should change our YouTube channel to Right Think.
I like that.
Maybe we'll slide under the radar.
I like that. Yeah, no, and that's it. Like, there's the whole thing where Israel has whatever it's called, like Pegasus. They're sorry, the dark force country. They have something called Pegasus, and apparently, like, you don't even have to like click a link or anything. Like, they can just like type your phone number into their system, and like, boom, Pegasus is on your phone now.
Oh,
And they've had this, and everybody knows they have this. And if they have it, something tells me we probably have something similar.
I
And
think this is the same company that they're hiring to do this.
that totally makes sense. And
Yeah.
apparently, if you think Pegasus is on your phone, like if you just turn off your phone and turn it back on, Pegasus is now off your phone. But then they can also just send it to your phone again. Yeah. So it's kind of if you're someone who's paranoid and thinks that this is happening to you, like there's certain people that turn off their phone like every hour on the hour to like,
I'm going to turn my phone off right now.
okay, well,
I mean, why
yeah.
not? Hey, who do you know who this guy Vote is?
Russell Vote, is it Vo or Vote? Because I've heard both.
So I think, I mean, it's spelled VOUGHT, which is Vought.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've heard Russell Vo before, like the T is silent.
well, over the last 3 days, I've heard his name a lot, and they keep saying Vote,
Okay.
VOTE, like I'm voting. But Vince Vaughn is spelled the same way, but with an N at the end, right? So I'm guessing this is Vought, not Vaughn, but Vought.
You're right that it should be Vought, but I believe he either goes by Vo or Vote because that's what I've always heard.
Okay. And he
What about it?
is Project. I just keep hearing his name a lot, and he seems to be an integral part of
So he's one of the four authors of Project 2025.
yeah.
He was he's like the head of OSMB or something like that. The Office of bureau management, whatever. They control all the strings basically for the entire federal government. Like it's actually the person that runs that department is one of the most powerful people in Washington because like they control the flow of everything. He was in that position in Trump's first term and then left in 2020 and then went to work on Project 2025 for 4 years. And everybody said like if he gets back into that same position with all the planning he's done, like he's gonna be able to execute. Like he's one of the masterminds behind what's going on, and he has like every time money gets rescinded from different states or different green energy products, they just canceled 8 billion in green energy products in different left-leaning states. That's all Russell Vought doing all that. Like he is him and Stephen Miller. You could make an argument are the brains behind everything happening.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
So he's got like all the Project 2025 people in his administration.
I think all 4 that wrote it have a job in his administration. I think I've heard that. I don't know that that's true, but I've heard that.
And whoever wrote and JD Vance wrote the
forward
to it. So
no, actually, he wrote the forward. Who I don't know if it was Vought or not, but one of the authors of Project 2025 had written a separate book, and JD Vance wrote the forward for that book.
I'm looking it up right now. Who wrote the forward to 2025?
There is no forward to it. It's not a book. It's yeah. But one of the authors, JD Vance knows well, and he had written the forward to this guy's other book that he did before Project 2025.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
So
Trump administration. Let's see. Yeah. I have to dig through. But yeah, I think you're right. I think all the authors of Project 2025 are in his administration.
I've seen tweets that say that, but I couldn't tell you if that's truthful or not. I see tweets that say a lot of shit.
Well, it's the Heritage Foundation is what.
So the Heritage Foundation has been around for a long time, and they've been like, anytime a Republican wins, like all of the interns and all that come from the Heritage Foundation. Like they basically train young, like fresh out of high school and college kids, like to be the interns of the White House. Yeah, they're a Republican think tank, is what I think they officially are, but
yeah,
they run the right to a degree.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And Trump disavowed Project 2025 for the longest
said he'd never heard of it, and he wouldn't hire anybody that had anything to do with it for his administration. And then he won, and he immediately started hiring them. So
6 of his cabinet secretaries are authors or contributors to the 2025 mandate.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. I'll buy that. So
yeah. And so he just basically lied to the American people when he said that he didn't know anything about the Project 2025.
He lied to him when he said he wasn't going to hire anybody associated with Project 2025 to work at it. Now, I think there's a strong chance that he heard like, oh, there's people writing this, and he was like, oh, cool. And I'll bet he didn't give a shit about it. Like they probably even tried to show it to him, and he was like, yeah, no, I'm not reading all that. So I'll bet he didn't really know what was in it, and I don't think he cares. There's a lot of things that seem to happen in his administration right now that he's just going along with. Like he's like, oh, cool, yeah, we're doing that, cool. Yeah, there's certain things he cares deeply about, like how much gold is in the Oval Office, but there's certain policy things that are happening that he's just like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. You know what?
Reading. He doesn't do a lot of reading. Let's just say that.
He definitely has never read Project 2025. Project 2025 is like 900 pages. Like one time I was like, I'm going to read the whole thing. And then I saw how many pages it was. And I was like, nope, I'm not.
Stephen Miller came to him at some point and was just like, hey, boss, look at this. This is great. This book is amazing here. And he gave him a copy, but then he was like, this is our game plan for 2025.
Yep.
And that's what they went with.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yes.
Have you heard America First doesn't mean America alone?
I think I know what clip I'm about to see. Yeah. I think I know.
Okay. Yeah. Click on that clip I sent you.
Capitalist economy, but that doesn't help people that say America First should not include, big help for another country. Can you justify us helping Milei? And it looks like we have interest down there, or some of our, wealthy Americans have interest down there, and the president's helping them. Does it make sense? Should we be doing this?
Well, first of all, Joe, this this trope that we're helping out wealthy Americans with interest down there, couldn't be more false. What we're doing is maintaining a U.S. strategic interest in the Western Hemisphere. America first doesn't mean America alone.
Yeah, no, I love the fact that CNBC was calling him out there. And also, a big part of this has to do with the fact that there are some Wall Street guys that are heavily invested in Argentina's economy, and they're going to lose their ass if Argentina goes under. So this is a bailout for Argentina, but also a bailout for some of Bissett and Trump's friends, some rich billionaires. So,
right. And I mean, and the thing that makes me so mad, like, we're going to give them $50 million.
20,
we're going to
I
give
think it's 20 right now, yeah.
$20 billion we're going to give Argentina.
Okay.
And then we're also giving the Dark Force how much money?
I don't even know.
It's like 80 plus 30 billion. So like, let's just say around $110 billion a year. And both of them have free healthcare.
Yep.
And America is getting rid of any a semblance of free healthcare that we could justify.
I told you I'm on your side now. I was forever against the single payer Medicare for all, and now I'm totally on board. And I think we just need to do it. The healthcare is so broken in this country that Medicare for all sounds really good right now.
Yeah,
so I'm on your side. You've won. You brought me over to the dark side.
And this goes back to the eugenics thing where Stephen Miller wants to get rid of. He wants to go from 350 million people in America to 100 million people in America. Like, how do you do that? You just get rid of their health care.
Yeah, he's not going to win that one in the White House. There's too many people that would be opposed to that.
No, he's already won.
Not that one.
If they're getting rid of our healthcare, they're going to kill. There's already studies out that say like 50 million people are going to die within the first 6 years of getting rid of Medicaid.
50,000 a year is what they if all the big beautiful bill changes stay as they are, it's 50,000 a year extra deaths that will be from people.
Okay, so that's 100. So 50,000. So 150,000 are going to die within the next. And then we're getting rid of all. Yeah, he's going to get his wish.
Yeah. But what I don't think he understands is a lot of those poor people on Medicaid that are going to lose their Medicaid are Trump voters, and like I don't think he realizes that. So maybe he doesn't. I think
no, they realize it. They just don't care.
Okay,
they don't care about their own constituents. They only care about themselves.
I don't think they care about any of us. That's what I'll say.
None of us. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They give less shits about you and me, but they don't even care about their own constituents.
That's the one thing Tallarico keeps saying that makes a lot of sense is he says this isn't a left versus right thing. This is a basically a top versus bottom or a rich versus poor or whatever. Like he's doing really good with the framing on that. So
yeah, I like that phrasing for it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so Krystal Ball of Breaking Points. I've always liked Krystal. I like Krystal and Sagar. They're a good combo on there.
I love Krystal.
I'm now like head over heels for Krystal. I used to just very much respect Krystal, and I think she does a great job. So does Sagar. So does Emily and Ryan. I love everybody on Breaking Points. But Tomi Lahren, you remember who Tomi Lahren is?
Yeah, she has like a show on Newsmax or something.
So it's not. She's on Outkick, which is Clay Travis, who's a sports guy he's a sports guy that said a couple things about the woke left like a couple of years ago and got a lot of attention for it. So now like he's all the time on Fox News and stuff giving his opinion. They bring him in to like debate politics, and it's like he's a sports guy. There's several sports guys. I don't get why they're into politics right now, but
he's on right-wing radio too.
He is. And Keith Olbermann on the left. I think is it Olbermann?
Clay something. Clay and Travis. No.
Yeah, it's Buck and Clay Travis. Clay Travis is that guy's name, and he's on with Buck Sexton or something like that. And that was a sports show, and now it's just kind of a sports and politics show. Like he totally leaned into this.
It's a lot of politics. I listen to it quite a bit.
Yeah. I think it's Keith Olbermann. There's somebody that used to be on ESPN back in the day who's now like far left, and he's a moron. Like I wish he would shut up. He's making people on the left look terrible everywhere. But all the sports guys and comedians need to back out of politics and get back to what you guys do.
No. Comedians like Jon Stewart need to stay in politics.
Well, that's what Jon Stewart does. That's his lane. He makes the news funny. That's his job.
Okay.
If you're just a podcast or comedian, I'm getting sick of all them having opinions.
He makes good points while making fun of it.
Well, real quick, especially right now with the whole Riyadh Comedy Festival that went on in Saudi Arabia,
Don't
and
get me
all these
started on
comedian, and it wasn't like right-wing comedians went. Bill Burr, who I love, and he's kind of a voice of the left. Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle, while he was there, was quoted as saying, "Man, I have more free speech in Saudi Arabia than I do back in America." Oh yeah, say something bad about the royal family. Try it. Just see how it goes. Like, I dare you. Bring up Jamal Khashoggi, the guy that got cut up in Turkey or wherever it was.
Yeah.
That yeah, like anyhow. So I'm kind of I've had it right now with the comedians that think that they're into politics. Like,
Yeah.
cool.
So what's up with the Middle East like owning America and Trump? Like
Yeah,
the Dark Force, and then we've got
Saudi Arabia and Qatar. We
the
just
Saudi
signed.
the Live Golf Tournament.
Yeah, dude, we just signed a deal with Qatar where we basically have like an Article 5 deal with them. Article 5 in NATO is an attack on one, is an attack on all. And we just signed a deal with Qatar that basically if they get attacked by anybody, that's an attack on us and we're going to immediately come to their aid.
So they get that because they gave us a jet. They gave
Seems like
Trump
it.
a jet.
The reason is because Israel bombed a house in Qatar where the Hamas leadership was like meeting to look over one of the proposals, and they're really pissed about that. Like the fact that Israel struck inside of Qatar, and basically this is us saying, "Don't worry, this is our way of saying we'll never let Israel strike you again." Pretty much.
Interesting.
So,
I wonder how the N-word. What do we call him? The Dark Force leader thinks about that.
We need to make up a nickname for him. I don't know what it's going to be, but we got to come up with one.
Darth
Yeah,
Vader.
I'm sure he's upset. Yeah, Vader.
Darth Vader. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll call Vader.
Anyhow, okay. So last thing. So we were talking Krystal here. Tomi Lahren. That's where we were. Sorry, I'm losing it here. Tomi Lahren. She's been on Outkick for a while. I honestly forgot all about her. Like I feel like she fell off the face of the earth. Turns out for the past couple of years, she's been having like mainly she has on Republican guests, but every now and then she'll have a lefty on to debate, and she always picks one who's not a good debater, so she steamrolls them the whole time. She had Krystal on, and maybe she just didn't know what she was getting into here, but Krystal destroyed her. The first clip we're gonna play is it's the very first question they get into, and Tommy's smiling at first, and by the end of the question, like she just looks upset. The second clip we're gonna play in a minute, you'll see like there's no joy left in her at all. Like Krystal has just dog walked her for like 45 straight minutes. Anyhow, check out this first clip real quick from Tomi Lahren's podcast.
So great to have you. I want to have the discussion. I know that you tweet a lot about it, and I'm very interested to hear if you think President Trump is a fascist, and if you think that I, by definition, as a conservative, am also a fascist.
I don't think everyone who supports President Trump is a fascist. I do think that President Trump is a fascist, though. And I'll give you a perfect example, Tommy. It's kind of an awkward day for you to give this spiel because Trump is speaking to all the generals today in Quantico. And he just said that he's going to use the military against the enemy within, which is part and parcel of what he's been doing with deploying the National Guard in cities across the country. So when you ask about definition of fascism, the president really sort of gave his own definition of fascism today. I know you want to agree with that, but let me just make a broader point here.
Yeah, I want to dive into
Well, let me just make a broader point here because, I think as someone who came from a side that did a lot of tone policing and, by the way, called out people who were policing rhetoric and doing the whole cancel culture thing, I would really caution you from going down this path, especially as someone who, is a commentator, uses your words for a living. I know in the past I did a little bit of research. You called people who were enforcing mask protocols Nazis. President Trump has, of course, used his language in quite aggressive ways, including calling Kamala Harris and others fascists, radical leftists, communists, et cetera, et cetera. Do I think that was inciting violence against Kamala Harris? Do I think you were inciting violence against people who were enforcing mask mandates? No. So I think we have to really maintain this commitment to First Amendment free speech, even in the face of incredible crackdowns from this administration in ways that are truly extraordinary and quite dystopian.
Go, Krystal.
I love Krystal. I mean, she is just on. She knows her shit, and I am surprised that Tomi actually had her on. And kudos to Tomi. Maybe she didn't know, but like, if you don't know who Krystal Ball is at this point, like you're living in a cave, right? Krystal Ball has been on top of her game since for 4 years, the 4 years that I've been watching her. And she's married to Kyle Kalinske, who could you imagine like sitting at the dinner table with those two and listening to them ramble about everything? I mean,
I'd be so irritated. It'd be so far left, and I would lose my
it'd
mind
be
and
so
leave.
good.
Yeah.
I listen to both of them on a consistent basis, and I think they both make consistently good points. They don't lie. They don't run. I mean, Kyle runs off the rails, but he's right on most of the stuff that he talks about. You don't think he is?
No, and I put him like there are. Yeah, no, I don't want to say
What
who
is
I
he
compare him
wrong?
to.
You got to find some stuff that
I'll
Kyle's
s-
wrong.
I'll monitor this week's worth of podcasts. That's next week, and I'll point out to you every little thing that I disagree with. And he's kind of like Midas touch to a degree. And what irritates me about them is that they'll put out like like the headline of their the headline of their clip will be like Trump suffers humiliating defeat and blah blah blah. And then you watch it and it's like that wasn't a humiliating defeat. Like they overblow clickbait wise and like Kyle's that way too. All his headlines annoy the shit out of me.
Okay, but headlines. I'm excluding headlines because for headlines, you kind of for them that's how they get their clicks, right? And that's how
Yeah.
they're making their money. They have to like sensationalize on their headlines.
It-
But the content in the videos are actually solid.
Not even. Like I said, well, let's pull some Kyle Kalinske clips for the next show, and
Okay.
we'll talk about. It.
All right.
I'll try
All
to
right.
find
Yeah.
some. But like
Yeah.
he
Let me
does
know.
this thing where he's always like, oh, look at what Trump just did. Trump is so cooked. Oh, he's done. Blah blah blah. And it's like, no, he's fine. Like he'll be fine next week. I understand that what you just saw, the clip you just saw of Trump, you're upset about, but like he's not so cooked and he's not finished. Like Trump's doing fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, his people aren't
Yeah,
leaving.
and yeah.
Yeah, that's my issue.
And he says he's cooked all the time, right? Like
Oh,
that's kind of the headline.
he's predicted this is Trump's downfall 100 times. Like, oh, he's done now. There's no way he comes back from this. No, he always comes back from this.
Yeah, Teflon Don.
Yeah, so that's my number one complaint about Kyle Kalinske. Just so you know, I don't dislike him. He's just
But
not
if you
my
take
favorite.
away that, he's pretty solid on all of this stuff. And like,
Well-
if he says Trump's cooked, like he's saying that Trump did something messed up, right? It's kind of you kind of gotta like play that down a little bit.
Cooked means done in the way that kids use it today. So yeah, he ain't done. So, but Krystal, I love. I could probably have a very fun conversation with Krystal and enjoy the whole thing. Kyle would ruin it for me. But Krystal totally ruined Tommy's day. I don't know if you noticed on that first clip though, where like Tommy kind of went from smiling to like annoyed. Check out this second clip real quick. To set this up real quick, she's been trying to get Krystal the whole time. Like she's been trying to get a gotcha question in there. And every time Crystal's like, no, like actually I love Mamdani. Like I think that socialism is the way to go, blah, blah, blah. And then would defend it with facts. And like Tommy thought she was gonna get her. Like, ooh, you're following a socialist. And like anyhow, so this was her last Hail Mary. This is the last question of the interview. Check this out real quick.
The last thing I want to talk to you about is because I'm about ready to do my commentary on it. But do you think Bad Bunny is a good choice for the Super Bowl?
I'm not that like knowledgeable about him, but it seems fine, and I don't know why it's a big deal. Seems like a great American artist, so sure.
He's
why
not an American artist, but
he's Puerto Rican. That's part of America, dear.
yeah.
That's part of America, dear. I love that.
That was pretty much the tone for how it was my favorite 45 minutes. My wife watched it with me, and like her overall comment was that it was just annoying because they both tried to talk over each other. But she was just like, she didn't know their names, but she was like, that one on the left is dumb. And I was like, yeah, that's Tommy. Like, it's...
Yeah, if you are from Puerto Rico, you are an American citizen. You have all the same rights as an American citizen. You have an American passport. You are an American citizen. Stop trying to say that Puerto Ricans are not Americans.
Yep.
Just because they're a territory and not a state, like I keep hearing this from the right, like about Bad Bunny, and who cares who's performing at the halftime?
What they don't understand is they're using the halftime show to try to grow the audience of the NFL, and they're already like the top 5 most watched programs in America every year are NFL games. Like they kind of have maxed out their NFL viewership in America, and clearly their play now is to get viewership in Ireland and England and all these different countries we keep playing games in. The whole reason is we're trying to suck the rest of the world into watching football. Bad Bunny might draw a whole part of like Latin America to watch the Super Bowl, and they might enjoy it. They might enjoy the football and start watching regular season games. Like that's the whole point of having Bad Bunny is to expand the audience. That's all it is.
Okay. And Bad Bunny is a record-breaking reggaeton artist who dominated Spotify streaming from 2020 to 2022. I just put Bad Bunny versus Taylor Swift. So he's up there with Taylor Swift with like fandom and view or listens.
The only reason I even know what he looks like, and I'm not even sure of this, but I think he played the caddy in Happy Gilmore 2. Because at one point, I was like, "Who is this cat?" Like, I kind of, you could tell it was a cameo type thing, and I looked it up, and I'm pretty sure it was Bad Bunny. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Oh,
was he?
Yes, Bad Bunny is in Happy Gilmore 2,
Yeah.
playing a waiter turned caddy named Oscar Mejas. Okay,
That's the only reason I could even tell you what he looks like.
But so I see where the right kind of pinned on him because there was a few photos of him dressed in dresses.
So it's
and
not
like
really,
women's clothes.
I'm sure they don't like that, but the main thing is just recently he said he's not going to tour in America going forward because of the ICE raids, and basically his whole crew and his backup dancers are all Puerto Rican, and he's worried that they're going to end up in like a Venezuelan prison. So he was like, he basically said it's not safe for me to bring my crew to tour in America right now the way ICE is acting. So he's done.
Have you heard that ICE is going to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, that's Kristy Noem said that they were going to be there, and
what are they going to do? Are they going to storm the halftime show?
I don't know. Also, Trump is threatening right now to move the 2026 FIFA World Cup is here in America, and he's saying, well, maybe we won't have it in blue cities, and FIFA actually came out with a statement where they basically reminded him that FIFA controls what cities the games are played in. The president doesn't. Now if he wants to challenge them on that, he's probably going to end up winning. But it was big that they came out and even said anything at all. So
good.
Anyhow. Yeah. So.
Oh my gosh, go Bad Bunny.
Yeah. So Bad Bunny. I like the fact that everybody's freaking out about it, but also like I'll tell you right now, like when we were little, like not even little, when we were growing up, like the Rolling Stones, Michael Jackson, like the Super Bowl halftime show I used to love, and now like last year it was Kendrick Lamar, and I don't know him at all. Like it wasn't for me. Like I think the year before it was a black woman. I don't know what she sings. It wasn't bad. I had no clue who it was. Like,
was it Beyonce?
No, I would know Beyonce. Like, there's a part of me that's like, give me the Eagles, or but I don't have any clue.
No, why would you want the Eagles? They're just they're not going to perform well, dude. Yeah. So when we were young, it was the Rolling Stones, and it was who else?
Michael Jackson was the first time the Cowboys went to the Super Bowl in '92.
Okay, Michael Jackson, a sign of our time, right? That was a sign of our time. Now we're moving into this pop culture, whatever. And don't get me wrong, it's not my music either, but like this is what people listen to these days.
I guess. Past Super Bowl halftime shows. Let me see. List of all the Super Bowl halftime shows. Where's the list? There's so many of them. Been a lot of Super Bowls. All right, so Kendrick Lamar last year, Usher the year before that, Rihanna. Okay. Rihanna's who I was thinking of.
Rihanna, okay.
Dr. Dre, Snoop, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, and
that was a good one. I remember that one.
The Weeknd. I don't know who that is. Shakira, Jennifer Lopez, that would have been good. Maroon 5, I don't care. Justin Timberlake, that's a good draw. Lady Gaga, Coldplay, yeah. Katy Perry. Dude, so the Super Bowl I got to go to in 2014 was Bruno Mars, and I went into that. I had no clue who Bruno Mars was, and I left there a Bruno Mars fan. Like, he is excellent live, is all I'm going to say. Like, that was an amazing show.
If you see any of these people live, you're going to be like, oh, these guys are great.
Probably. Beyonce in 13, Madonna. So let me go back to the 90s, though, real quick.
Okay.
So when we were growing up, the first Super Bowl I remember watching was Michael Jackson. And then after that, it was Clint Black, Tanya Tucker, Travis Tritt, and the Judds. That's a whole country lineup. Patti LaBelle, Teddy Pendergrass, Tony Bennett. Okay. Diana Ross.
Boys to Men.
Yeah. Boys to
Good stuff.
Men. Gloria Estefan, Stevie Wonder,
Oh, wow.
Voodoo Daddy. I don't know who that is. Phil Collins, Christina Aguilera, Enrique Iglesias, and Tony Braxton.
Where do you see that?
That was in 2000.
Oh, okay.
Aerosmith in 2000. So Aerosmith, like that to me, like that's kind of, and I know Aerosmith is old, but like in my mind, I'm like Super Bowl halftime show. I want to see Aerosmith or somebody like that.
That was a good one. I remember the Aerosmith one. That was really good. U2, I don't like U2. Everybody loves U2. I hate U2.
We had Paul McCartney, and then the very next year, the Rolling Stones. We had
Yep.
Prince. Like Prince to me, like
Prince.
that's a halftime show.
Yeah.
Anyhow,
I'll take Prince
okay.
all day.
I'm not gonna keep naming all these, but yeah, that's kind of. I don't know. Like I said, it's not for me. I understand that they're not picking the Super Bowl halftime show to appease a 43-year-old white man.
No.
I'm still gonna watch the whole game, and I'm gonna do what I do at halftime. I'm gonna wander around and eat food and talk to people and wait to see if like Janet Jackson's boob comes out. That's the only thing that I really care about for the halftime show.
Yeah, TiVo, you just rewind that.
Exactly. Like I don't care. Like I like to get up during halftime and move around and do my thing and not have to be in front of the TV for that. So it doesn't bother me. Somebody on the right suggested that the right should counter program the halftime show on like a different network with a Creed concert. And I was like, perfect. Yeah, Creed. I'm also not watching that. Yeah.
Nobody's gonna show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is the argument you're never gonna win is the halftime show. Like the NFL picked the halftime show. It's gonna be good. Like it always is good. Like everyone that I watch is good, even if I don't know the artist or whatever. Like it's entertaining. It's dancers and good singing and like cameos coming in and singing for a minute and like it's always good. So I don't know. They're just fighting a losing battle. You talk about the left fighting a losing battle. This is the right fighting a losing battle.
Yeah, getting really upset about the halftime show of the Super Bowl. Who cares? Like there's literally troops from the Department of War headed to Chicago and Portland right now. Like whoever's in that Super Bowl halftime show is not a big deal.
Could you imagine being a troop getting on a bus or a plane or whatever they're doing and heading to a city?
I saw a clip and it was somebody who was like the leader of the National Guard in Portland, and he was basically giving a speech to his troops that were about to go in, and he was telling them, he's like, I know some of you guys don't agree with this mission. Like, we're going to try to do this in the best way possible and keep citizens safe and blah, blah, blah. But, like, they were panning around and showing the troops he was talking to, and all of them were just like, what the heck? Like, yeah, you could see it on their face. And there was not a single one that was like, yeah, we're going into Portland. So,
this is bad.
Yep. I think the next time we talk, that's what I want you to give some serious thought. I said this a couple times already. We give some serious thought between now and the next time we talk about, like, if you look around and you don't like what you see, like, what's the play? Like, what do you do to express the fact that you're not happy with what's going on in America? Like, how?
Hail Trump.
I think that he wants you to just give in and be on his side. Don't say anything bad about him.
You know that's not what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do if Kyle Klinsky gets arrested?
Well, if he gets arrested for speech, I would be upset. Yeah. I'll be upset if anybody gets arrested for speech, even if somebody
What are we gonna do with this podcast if Kyle Klinsky gets arrested for speech?
I said just a couple months ago. I told you I was like, because of these attacks on free speech, like that's why we got to keep doing this. We're not going to stop telling blah blah blah. I had a little passionate moment about that, and like for real now, I'm starting to look around and I'm like, like. At some point, our show might come to an end out of fear. Like, and I'm not even afraid to say that, but like, yeah, it wouldn't be smart for us to keep talking bad about the president and then putting it on the internet. Like he's going after everyone talking bad about him. Hey. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think it's more likely in my head right now than it was 3 months ago, where I'm like, it might not be safe. So yeah.
I mean, living in the woods might be a good idea for a little while.
Good luck, buddy. They'll hit you with a Hellfire drone like they do those boats in the Caribbean. Yeah. So, all right, let's get out of here, man.
All right, brother.
Later.
Peace.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.